Good evening, everybody. Any issues, doubts, except Buddhism? Right, because Buddhism we are doing. Anyway, yesterday we had in some of the important view in Buddhist school. In Buddhism, the most important part is the Four Noble Truths. These Four Noble Truths are the foundation of his entire system. One by one, all his philosophies, theories, doctrine, issues will logically come from these Four Noble Truths. These Four Noble Truths are, one is, this world is full of suffering. Second Noble Truth, there is a cause. Third, cessation of suffering is possible. And fourth, there is a path. And within that fourth Noble Truth, we have Ashtangik Marg, Eightfold Path. These are the Four Noble Truths. From the second and third Noble Truth, a philosophy is emerging, that is Pratyatya Samutpada. This Pratyatya Samutpada is nothing but the theory of causation. Theory of causation. And theory of causation is nothing but the theory of cause and effect. What we see in science, the same thing Buddha is trying to say. Cause and effect, it's very natural, very simple. What is there to, understand? That every effect has a cause. What we see in this world are of the nature of effect. जो चीज हमारे सामने आ गई तो effect है ना वो. And if this is of the nature of effect, it logically implies that there must be some cause. And now he says that nothing in this world is uncaused. Everything has a cause. And since everything is a cause, everything is dependent, of course, on its cause. Isn't it? Everything is conditional. Everything is relative. Don't you think all these things have already been told by which school? Jainism. Jainism भी तो ये बोल रहा है. All schools will say, not only Jainas, not only Buddha, all other schools will say that everything in this world is relative. And if you remember, then we have already discussed in our first lecture in those basic concepts. Isn't it? So everything is dependent, conditional, relative, subject to birth and death, subject to production and destruction. And hence everything is impermanent. And this is where he finds a solution of suffering or miseries or sorrows in the Pratyatya Samutpada, theory of dependent origination. That is nothing but this being that arises. It is itself nothing, dependent on the cause, effect arises. Isn't it? Fire being, heat arises. Wood being, table arises. My thought being, my action being, fruit arises. Isn't it? Action being, reaction arises. So this is the cause and effect relation, and this is where he talks about the causal wheel, dharma chakra, janam marana chakra, bhav chakra, and these are, give me fast those 12 links without saying, try to recall. Suffering, right? Suffering is caused by birth and rebirth. Then will, clingingness, sense enjoyment, that is thirst. Then sense experience, sense object contact. Then six sense organs. Then psychophysical being. Then consciousness. Then karmic impressions. And then ignorance. This is how we have 12 dependent links. That is causal wheel, chakra of 12 dependent links. 12 dependent links. This is a Pratyatya Samutpada chakra. This is nothing but Sansar chakra. Right? Failure to grasp this chakra means we are trapped into the circle. An ignorant soul is trapped. It simply means I have clingingness. And clingingness means I am attached with these worldly things. And attached with the worldly things means a desire, craving, thirst. And if desire and craving and thirst is there, then obviously I would be doing certain action motivated by those cravings. And those actions will lead to fruits, because every action has effect. Isn't it? This is how theory of causation, and this is where he finds the solution of suffering in this Pratyatya Samutpada. Here impression goes that suffering is caused by birth. ऐसा लग रहा है कि सबका एक एक cause है, लेकिन एक cause नहीं है. It is only the most important cause, but at the same time there are n number of causes are working simultaneously. Multiplicity of causes are there. It is life, and this chakra is not so simplified as it is seen on the board, isn't it? Actually, there are many things which are working simultaneously. Ignorance is working, clingingness is working, karmic impressions are working, psychophysical being is working, multiplicity of causes are there. But for the sake of understanding, broadly this is the causation circle. One who understands this, he gets bodhi. Understanding means one who has right knowledge. One who sees the Pratyatya Samutpada sees the bodhi, and one who sees the bodhi sees the dharma, and one who sees the dharma sees the Pratyatya Samutpada. Failure to understand Pratyatya Samutpada is Sansar Chakra, and knowledge of Pratyatya Samutpada is nothing but Nirvana. We have already seen that death is not the end of the cycle. Rather, death is only a beginning, a new beginning. If you really want to end this vicious circle, then you have to find out the root cause. What is the root cause? Where is the beginning? And root cause, as it is clearly seen, that it is the beginningless ignorance. And we know it ignorance will be removed by right knowledge. And hence, right knowledge of Prasatta Samutpada. How to get that right knowledge, Buddha have already laid down that path, that is Astangik Marg. Right faith, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right thought, and right concentration. Within right concentration, there are different stages of concentration. Right? Once we reach there, then one stage, second stage, and a stage will come when clinginess is gone. Attachment is gone, ignorance is gone, and this is where I will be a liberated soul. That will be enlightenment. If somebody asks, Buddha, what is nirvana? What is enlightenment? What happens after nirvana? Then Buddha is silent on these issues. किसी ने पूछा निर्वाण के बाद क्या कैसा लगता है, तो बुद्धा विल सिंपली से कि वहां पहुंच के देख लो, मैं कुछ नहीं बोल सकता हूं, क्योंकि मैं कुछ भी बोलूंगा, वॉट एवर आई से यू वॉन्ट अंडरस्टैंड, बिकॉज यू पीपल आर अफ्लिक्टेड विथ इग्नोरेंस. Your inquisitiveness, your curiosity will never be satisfied, no matter what I say. Isn't it? So, it is better to go there and realize. We will see, go there means, is there any place where I am supposed to go there? As it happened in Jana, the Siddhishila is there, and they have clarified that ultimately liberated soul has to transcend this sansar and have straight go to Siddhishila. Isn't it? Whatever understanding we have developed till now about Buddhism, just tell me, will Buddha talk about any such entity? No, he is silent on that. Right? So, he is simply focusing on the practical realities, practical problems, for a practical solution. And practical solution is this one. Understanding this, follow Ashtanga Yama. This is Prasatta Samutpada. And Prasatta Samutpada, we have seen, is the central teaching which is derived from the second and the third noble truth. And Prasatta Samutpada logically leading to the theory of momentariness, right? And this is where we have Kshanikvad. This is where Kshanikvad, that is nothing but the theory of momentariness. This is what we had already discussed. A thing exists for a movement alone. I exist for a shana, for a movement, but this movement is beyond a time frame. This is only a metaphysical movement. We can only think of. This theory of momentariness is also known as Santanvad. That is nothing but the theory of flux. Theory of flux. Flux means ceaseless flow. Right? This is Santanvad. Means he simply says that change is the rule of the universe. The only permanent thing in this world is the change. Because I exist for a moment. And he says that there is a reality of only one thing, that is of becoming. That is of becoming. Only becoming is the reality. I am continuously becoming something. There is not a thing which is changing. Because if I say that there is a thing which is changing, it presupposes existence of some entity. But here there is no entity. There is neither being nor non-being. In Prasatta Samutpada you had already written one line. There is no absolutely real nor absolutely unreal. It hangs in between. है भी और नहीं भी. है भी और नहीं भी. इसका मतलब क्या है? Over a period of time you will understand what actually it means. अब इस सिर्फ इतना देख ले कि there is no being, neither non-being, only becoming. There is a flow of change, ceaseless flow of change. Just as a river is there, a flame is there, river is seen as river, then why river is seen as one river? That is, Buddha says that this change is so rapid, so steady, so continuous, that it creates an illusion of unity. An illusion of unity is created just as such unity is created in a river, in a plane. Such unity is created on the screen in the modern cinema. Is that fine? So this is where Buddha is focusing on the momentariness. Everything is Kshanika. If everything is Kshanika, if everything is mortal, if everything is changing, if everything is imperishable, if everything is perishable, destructible, then logically it implies, if this world is changing, if this world exists for a moment, it is continuously changing, it is mortal, it is destructible, it is perishable, it logically implies, think, it logically implies, night logically implies day, this smoothness logically implies. So when this world is changing, destructible, perishable, momentary, it logically implies that there is something which is impermanent, indestructible, imperishable, immortal, eternal. Are you getting? Logically chalenge? When this world is changing with respect to what? कोई तो चीज होनी चाहिए ना. I am changing. Obviously, I am changing with respect to something. If we all are changing, and if there is nothing with respect to that which we are changing, is this change a change? We all are science student, right? किसी के respect में change तो होता ही है ना. Which Jainas have failed to recognize, but Buddha is recognizing, and he says, when this world is changing, when this world is momentary, then logically it implies that there is something which is immortal, indestructible, eternal, imperishable, permanent entity, and that is nothing but Bodhi or Pragya. Bodhi or Pragya. What is Bodhi? Pure consciousness. Right? Bodhi or Pragya is the pure consciousness. Further, somebody had asked, what is Bodhi? Please describe. Then Buddha will be silent. वो छोड़ना यार बोधि में क्या रखा है, तू इसमें दिमाग लगा, इसको समझते हैं. क्योंकि again you are going into the zone of speculation. And Buddha says that there is no point in going to speculation. Why don't you put your efforts in understanding what I am trying to say? This is where, if you can recall, during Jainas I have said, Kshanikvad, Kshanikvad, Kshanikvad. Bodhi is there, fine. But this world is Kshanikvad. His point of emphasis is on Kshanikvad, this world. He is not going into that Bodhi. Yes, but he accepts that. Isn't it? So, just remember this, that logically it implies that there is a supreme reality which is unborn, uncreated. Eternal का मतलब भी क्या होता है? कि जिसका ना जन्म हुआ है ना मृत्यु है. That is beyond a production and destruction. So now Bodhi is unborn, uncreated, supreme, eternal, immortal reality, and that is Bodhi. Is that fine? Yeah.
So if it is mortal, it has to be impermanent, right?
Yeah, fine. Impermanent means what? If this is This is impermanent, no? So this is impermanent, so this is permanent. Fine, impermanent will come over here. This world is impermanent. Impermanent. Right? And impermanent logically implies that there is some permanent entity, which we are saying. This is Bodhi. Okay, this is not impermanent, this is imperishable. Right? This is imperishable. One more thing, we have used different terminologies for same thing. Indestructible, imperishable, immortal, eternal. अरे एक ही चीज बोल दो ना यार, eternal. But in philosophy, this is how we move, so that we understand that thing from all the directions. There should not be any kind of confusion. So immortal, दिमाग लगा. फिर हमने कहा indestructible, imperishable, eternal, unborn, uncreated. Right? This is how a thing is described, and this is how we move in philosophy. Different terms have been used for same thing. So, second and third noble truth, Pratyatya Samutpad, and Pratyatya Samutpad is leading to Kshanikvad. Yeah, fast.
Sir, Bodhi and moment, that is Kshan, are they related because both are permanent?
Kshan is how is permanent. A thing exists for a moment. Moment आया, चला गया, खत्म.
बुद्धा नहीं, because the moment ही है जो real है.
I exist for a moment. This moment is not permanent, no? I exist for a moment. एक क्षण के लिए ही रहता हूँ. तो क्षण आया, चला गया. वो रहा कब? Isn't it? Yeah.
So speculation would be for the followers, right? Because Buddha cannot speculate. Buddha knows what is true.
Yeah.
So if he tells them something, they would understand and they would speculate, right? Followers. The speculation thing is for the followers, not for Buddha.
He says even you don't speculate.
Exactly, because if he tells them something about metaphysical or life after what is after nirvana, so the followers would not understand what he's saying, and then the followers would speculate.
That is not speculation, that is reflection. I'm trying to understand what Buddha is saying.
So who is speculating then?
Nobody.
No, but Buddha knows what is after nirvana.
So this is not a speculation. He knows it very well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what is speculation then?
Speculation means not knowing and venturing into unknown world and trying to know that.
And who would speculate? The followers would speculate, right?
Yeah, you will speculate.
Exactly, because followers won't understand what is after nirvana, so they will
Exactly.
If they listen to Buddha.
Yeah.
They would understand and they would speculate and reflect. Like,
No.
Sir,
This continues related to this? Yeah.
Is it like what Wittgenstein said, that what we can say, which would say clearly?
Wittgenstein, very heavy terminology. How do you know?
I'm good.
No.
It's not related to that.
No, I will not entertain your question. ठीक है? What you are fine, ठीक है? Or at that point of time we will see. ठीक है? और डराओ नहीं बाकी लोगों को. क्योंकि क्या होता है विटगेन्स्टाइन यार ये क्या यार मैं तो पढ़ा ही नहीं यार. अच्छा ये तो पढ़ के ही आना होता है. क्रिएट सो मच ऑफ प्रॉब्लम. राइट, जिन्होंने पहले से पढ़ रखा है एंड दोज हु आर रिपीटिंग, राइट, वो चुपचाप बैठे सुनते रहे. व्हेनेवर आई आस्क क्वेश्चन दे आर नॉट सपोज्ड टू आंसर, दे विल बी द लास्ट पर्सन टू आंसर बिकॉज दे हैव ऑलरेडी रेड नो. Right, and even otherwise those who are not my student, and if you have read, ठीक है, सुनते रहो, correlate करते रहो, and after class you can ask me.
Means that thing is related to this, but where Buddha is silent.
I don't know about that person who is that. फास्ट जल्दी करो, rhythm.
The change of becoming आपने रेड में लिखा है वो तो परमानेंट है, इसलिए तो लिखा है.
कहाँ लिख दिए रेड पे, किसको लिखी है यार?
मॉडल संतानवाद के नीचे.
हाँ यहाँ ठीक है. चेंज इज द रूल ऑफ द यूनिवर्स. हमने कहा चेंज इज द ओनली परमानेंट थिंग. तो परमानेंट थोड़ी होगा, चेंज तो चेंज ही है ना यार.
So you said that we change with respect to something permanent. So isn't that we change with respect to what we were a moment ago, and not with respect to something that is bodhi or something pragya?
That is our continuity. I mean that will also come,
but
right?
What we were a moment ago, we were like relative to what we were before that. So there's no.
But that will lead us into the fallacy of Jana's
that
only.
infinitum, yeah.
Because that was also relative though. That was also relative.
But I mean, you will. This is change, and you are saying that leave this world. There is something permanent. and these two are opposite to each other. But how do you relate that? Means, don't we change with respect to ourselves? And
you think what you are saying. This is what Janas had committed fallacy. They talked only of relative. I am not permanent entity. I myself is changing, and I am changing with respect to my. That presupposes that there is something in me which is permanent. Think what you are saying.
Somewhere Buddha is talking about the permanent now, because he is talking that immortal and body is immortal.
Yes,
So he is stressing on the immortal or in theory flux.
He is focusing on theory of flux.
Then he also saying that something is immortal.
Why something? He has defined it. It's a body.
Body is immortal.
Yes.
Body is permanent.
Yes. बिल्कुल ठीक है.
But he is talking about
Okay, yeah, I'll just come. अरे इस पर अच्छा वहीं फेंक के हुए उनको जो है स्पेकुलेट मतलब क्या?
I know that we can speculate, but who would speculate? Buddha won't. He cannot speculate. Buddha knows.
He won't.
So the followers would.
So you are speculating, right?
The followers would.
हाँ, you are speculating. Fine. So Buddha will say कि don't speculate. Why? Because that is distracting you from the main theme. Your main issue is to remove ignorance. And speculation means यार कुछ तो होगा, God होगा, कौन है, कौन मैनेज कर रहा है. तो बुद्ध कह रहे हैं यार वैसे सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है तुमको, वो है या नहीं छोड़ना, देखो तकलीफ क्या है वो बताओ. Then you would be saying कि बुद्धा the problem is I'm suffering. टेंशन हो जाती है यार चलते चलते. Isn't it? I mean, what is this life? यार जब भी ख्याल आता है डेथ का तो पसीने आ जाते हैं, टेंशन हो जाती है, वैराग्य टाइप से उत्पन्न हो जाता है. Isn't it? तो बुद्ध ने कहा कि हाँ, yes, और उसका सॉल्यूशन मैं देता हूँ. लेकिन if you speculate, then Buddha will cut down. Don't speculate here, because you won't get anything. Focus on your practical problem, and practical problem is this: I'm suffering, and hence Buddha is trying to give you solution for that. And hence we have already written somewhere that he finds solution of suffering in the Pratyata Samutpada. And whatever we have written here, is there anything which is we are not knowing, which we are not experiencing? Is there anything speculated thing? No, not at all. And this is what he is saying. Only thing is that which goes into the speculation is about Bodhi. But Buddha himself has not talked much on the Bodhi. बोधि के बारे में तो बस इतने बता के चुप हो गए. किसी ने पूछा कि सर और बोलो थोड़ा सा. Then Buddha will say कि यार कि बस अब मैं जा रहा हूँ यार, मैं सोने का टाइम हो. And he goes. अब करते रहो स्पेकुलेट. And this is what the basic philosophy of Buddha कि भैया स्पेकुलेट नहीं करना. Right. All these questions will be solved. Second and third noble truth giving rise to Pratyata Samutpada. Pratyata Samutpada is now another base. And from Pratyata Samutpada, many doctrines will come. First doctrine has come, that is Kshanikvad. And I can, I believe that you are correlating how Kshanikvad is logically coming from Pratyata Samutpada. Done. Now, he says that this Kshanikvad is applicable only to this phenomenal world, this empirical world. Kshanikvad, theory of momentariness, is applicable to this phenomenal world, this empirical world, the world in which we are living. It is not applicable to the Bodhi. If it is applicable to Bodhi, then how it will be ultimate reality? Then again we have to find it out. Another reality with respect to that, it is changing, and that will lead to fallacy of infinite regression. Hence that is but obvious that Kshanikvad just can't be applicable to the supreme reality, because that supreme reality is the absolute. Right? Hence, another way we say Kshanikvad is applicable to the phenomenal world. And now you tell me in this phenomenal world, how many different things are there? Infinite. Broadly, how many types? Two types. कौन से? Jeev है ना, Jeev, that is from Jaina's terminology. Give me in layman language. Living and non-living, or matter and soul. Isn't it? In this phenomenal world, there exist only two things. This is what we have learned, isn't it? Matter and soul. That is non-living and living. That is conscious and unconscious. यही ना सीखा है हमने? So, phenomenal world is this matter and soul. Is that fine? Now, Kshanikvad is applicable to the phenomenal world. And phenomenal world is nothing but only two things, matter and soul. And hence, Kshanikvad is applicable to the matter. So this matter is Kshanika. This matter is Kshanika. And this matter, this board is made up of atoms. Which atoms? Permanent atoms or momentary atoms? Momentary atoms. This leads to a philosophy known as Sanghatvad. Sanghatvad. Sanghat is aggregate. So this matter, this board is aggregate of momentary atoms. And hence so-called aggregate is itself momentary. जब ये momentary atom से बना है तो ये aggregate किसका कैसा हुआ? Momentary. This is known as theory of aggregate. Is that fine? This is your second philosophy which is coming out from Pratyatha Samutpada, or you can say Kshanikvad. This is second, that is first. There is nothing like matter. There is neither being nor non-being, only becoming. This so-called matter is aggregate of.
But these are two different things. Shan means time and matter. So, both are changing with respect to each other.
Both are changing. क्षण तो क्या है? क्षण तो एक मूवमेंट हो गया ना. दिस मैटर एग्जिस्ट फॉर ए क्षण. Why you are creating क्षण as another reality? This matter exists for a क्षण. It comes and it goes away. Fine. Kshanikvad applicable to phenomenal world, and phenomenal world we have two things. Matter. That means Kshanikvad is applicable to matter. Kshanikvad is applicable to matter. 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 Is it permanent? वही तो हमने Kshanikvad में सीखा है. Is it permanent? No, it is continuously changing. It is only after 10, 15, 20 years you will find a lot of changes in me. But that means that change is still undergoing. Isn't it? I am nothing but what you see me is only illusion of unity. Just as you see river as one river. But is it one river? No. It is made up of infinite water droplets. But these infinite water droplets are moving so fast, rapid, continuity, steadily that it creates oneness. In the same way that oneness is created on this board, oneness is created on this table, but Buddha says it is Kshanikvad. That means this matter, so-called table, is made up of momentary atoms. Hence, so-called table matter is momentary. This is what Sanghatvad. This is Sanghatvad. Isn't it? This is matter only. This is Kshanika. And Kshanikvad is also applicable to the soul. It is also applicable to the soul. That means the so-called soul is also what? Momentary. Soul is momentary. That means there is soul or there is no soul? There is no soul. Only changing soul is there. Hence, this theory is known as no soul theory. Which soul is not there? Yeah, good. Which soul is not there? Permanent, eternal, immortal, indestructible. Nahi hai. Because that which prevails in me, Kshanikvad is applicable on that. And that soul is momentary, changing. So Buddha is saying that there is no soul. There is no permanent Atma. What you consider Atma is nothing but momentary. That exists only for a moment. It comes and it goes away. So Buddha says that there is no soul, and this is known as no soul theory. Right? And this is where another theory has come up, which is known as Niratmavad. Niratmavad, no soul theory, or you can simply say no Atma theory. There is no Atma. What you consider Atma is only momentary. That Atma is nothing but only that momentary. Again I ask you, Buddha denies soul or Atma. Which Atma is being denied by Buddha? Permanent. The kind of permanent Atma which Janas have recently talked about. Isn't it? Eternal, immortal, Ananda Chatushtaya, something like that. And what Janas? All other schools have talked. This is how we started our basic concept, isn't it? That Atma has to be permanent. But Buddha says, look, Kshanikvad, Atma is sansar mein, sharir bhi hai aur Atma bhi hai. And Kshanikvad is applicable to this world. So, Kshanikvad is applicable on this body. Hence this body is changing. And Kshanikvad is applicable to soul also. Hence soul is also changing. Hence there is no soul. There is no Atma. And this theory is known as, keep on following, I know where you are stuck up. This theory is known as Niratmavad. No Atma. Isn't it? But now you tell me, which Atma is being denied by Buddha? Which Atma he is denying? Yeah. Yes. Can you recall our basic concept? Originally Atma is? Originally. It's the true nature of Atma is pure, complete, perfect. And when it gets afflicted with ignorance, then this becomes which Atma? Ignorant soul. But ignorant soul has ultimately no existence, because my real nature is pure. So which is ultimately false? Pure Atma or this Atma? This Atma. So Buddha is denying which Atma? Ignorant soul. Did he deny pure soul? No. And pure soul is what? Bodhi. बड़ी देर से परेशान हो रहे हो
सर मैं बहुत पहले से परेशान हूँ सर समझ ही नहीं आ रहा सर आप बोल रहे हो कभी चेंज हो रहा है कभी बोल रहे हो इटर्नल है ये चल क्या रहा है
I tried my best to ignore, but you were like, you know, मतलब ये तो मतलब अल्टीमेट ही हो गया
कभी हम लॉजिकल तो कि समझ में आए
नो देखिए ऐसा है कि आपने बीच में रास्ता हाथ छोड़ दिया यू लेफ्ट इन बिटवीन एंड मोमेंट एनीबडी लीव्स मी immediately I come to know that this person is not with me and hence he is going to ask first question, right? And when you know when I am not able to move, then I stop and then ask हाँ यार बताओ यार. I tried my best to sort out here so that you don't ask, but anyway, no issues.
Sir, there is some permanent Atma. It got afflicted with ignorance.
Buddha, I tell you one thing. Buddha is flawless. वो इशू नहीं है, कोई समझ में नहीं है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, नॉट ए इशू एट ऑल, बिकॉज आई नो दैट यू विल बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग इट वेरी वेल. हाँ, एक तो निरात्मवाद को इस कोने में लिख दिया, तो आई कुड प्रिज्यूम कि इट विल क्रिएट अ प्रॉब्लम. It should be the center of the board. Right. Second thing is, Buddha is flawless. Hence he is Buddha. Isn't it? He is flawless. It's a very logical, and very straightforward and to the point. कहीं कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं, कोई दुविधा ही नहीं. Still, if you are not able to understand Buddha, it is not because of the complication. It is only because those basic concepts are not in our mind. ठीक है? No issues, नहीं समझ में आया. It's good that you have said I have not understood. So now we are going to start a new school, that is Buddha. Right? मिटा दो सारा सब कुछ, क्या कुछ नहीं शुरू से, right from scratch. 4 double truths clear. Second and third is leading to pratyata samutpad clear. Pratyata samutpada is leading to a philosophy, that is Kshanikvad. Kshanikvad clear? Good. Now we said Kshanikvad is applicable to this phenomenal world or this empirical world. This empirical world मतलब भाई जिस संसार में हम रह रहे हैं. Empirical world मतलब जिसको हम experience कर सकते हैं, जिसको देख सकते हैं, जिसको महसूस कर सकते हैं, ये empirical world हो गया. Done. बीच बीच में I take help of those basic concepts. Isn't it? So in that basic concept, we have learned that in this world, ultimately, how many things are there? 2 things. We started with our layman way, that भाई एक होती है living और दूसरा होता है non-living. फिर हमने इसको थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल बना दिया, and we called non-living as matter and living as soul. This is what we are doing, isn't it? This is matter and this is soul. I hope there should be no problem with this till now. ठीक? Now that logically means कि Kshanikvad is applicable on matter. That simply means कि this matter is Kshanik. That means momentary. That means continuously changing. Isn't it? That means this matter is made up of atoms. When I say this board is momentary, that logically presupposes that ये जिससे बना है वो खुद ही momentary है. Isn't it? So this so-called matter is made up of momentary atoms. And when these momentary atoms combine with each other, then they form aggregate, sanghat. This is why I think we have used this terminologies in Janaz also. So, ये sanghat one बन गया. And this sanghat, this aggregate is itself then momentary. So this theory is known as sanghat bond. कोई issue? Anybody? I hope it is clear. This is matter. This is momentary. Aggregate है ना ये atoms का. Atoms खुद momentary हैं. तो भाई ये भी momentary होगा. A thing exists for a moment alone. Now Buddha says कि this Kshanikvad is applicable to the phenomenal world. लेकिन apart from matter, there is also something soul. That is consciousness. That which prevails in me. है ना soul, आत्मा. That which prevails in me. Buddha is saying कि Kshanikvad is applicable to this also. This is also continuously changing. Isn't it? My awareness, my consciousness is continuously changing. कैसे? कितने thoughts आ रहे हैं अभी मेरे मन में? Isn't it? Love, pain, heat, cold, joy, class से पैर निकलते यार ये काम करना है, वो करना है, ये करना है. N number of thoughts are there. We are just able to catch only few. With those thoughts are coming and going. That means जहाँ आ रहे हैं वो खुद ही change हो रहा है. That means soul is fast changing. It's continuously changing. This is what Buddha says. That means that there is no permanent soul. Where? In which world? Empirical world. This soul is not permanent, and hence he says no soul theory. No soul theory. Because the soul which is believed to exist in this empirical world is momentary. जिसको आप लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं? आत्मा. And you believe that that Atma is eternal. But Buddha says that this can't be eternal because this is existing in this relative world, in this empirical world. And anything which is believed to exist in the empirical world just can't be absolute. क्योंकि तो खुद ही empirical में. Right? And this no soul theory, he says that there is no Atma. There is no Atma. Whatever Atma is existing here in this phenomenal world is only momentary. That exists for a moment alone. तो जो आत्मा जो मेरे अंदर रह रही है वो तो खुद एक एग्रीगेट है. Aggregate of different constituents. And those constituents are itself changing. Hence the aggregate itself is changing. The so-called आत्मा जिन चीजों से बनी है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप बोले कि भाई 5 चीजों से बनी है, तो 5 चीजें अपने आप में बदल रहे हैं. राइट? so called this soul is also changing. तो बुद्धा कहे, बुद्धा is saying कि there is no आत्मा, there is no soul, and whichever soul you are believing in, that is only momentary. I hope it is clear. This theory is known as Niratmavad. Niratmavad. Which consciousness is denying? Empirical one. Isn't it? Which consciousness that is believed to exist in me? इसको डिनाई कर रहे हैं वो कह रहे हैं कि ये मोमेंटरी है. Are you getting? Is he denying any permanent soul, pure consciousness? Is he denying pure consciousness? No. So that Bodhi he is not denying. It is pure consciousness. So which consciousness is denying? That is believed to exist in this empirical world. That is believed to exist in me. This soul is being denied. फिर ये कौन सी soul है? Now imagine, just remember we had discussed in our first lecture that Atma, its nature is pure originally, but when it get afflicted with ignorance, then which Atma we have now? Ignorant आत्मा. जैसे राइट नॉलेज होगी इस इग्नोरेंट आत्मा का क्या होगा? ये खत्म हो जाएगी ना. मोमेंट यू हैव राइट नॉलेज देन दिस इज गॉन एंड व्हाट रिमेन्स? दैट आत्मा. दैट मीन्स विद द हेल्प दिस व्हेन वी आर अफ्लिक्टेड विद इग्नोरेंस देन दिस इग्नोरेंट आत्मा कम्स एंड दिस इज नथिंग बट आवर ईगो. इजंट इट? अहंकार, मैं, मेरा, ये मेरी चीज है, ये मैं हूं. दिस ईगो कम्स. दिस ईगो इज द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ ignorance. We all are product of ignorance. When ignorance is removed, then we all are nothing. Then what remains? Pure. And who is that pure? Bodhi. But right now we are afflicted with ignorance. Right now we all are ignorant souls. Now you tell me, is this ignorant soul permanent? This ignorant soul is not permanent, because moment you have right knowledge, this ignorant soul will vanish, and then what remains? Pure soul. And who is that pure soul? Bodhi. But problem is with you, that you have started considering this ignorant soul as, and hence this is the source of suffering. क्योंकि इसी को परमानेंट मान चुके हो, लेकिन ये परमानेंट नहीं है. या Absolutely, it is not changing. What you are saying is applicable to this. But right now, you are product of ignorance. जो अभी बोल रहा है, that is the product of ignorance. Just imagine, once your ignorance is removed, so what will happen to this Atma? आप फिर इसी के लिए बोल रहे हैं.
So this means that something permanent becomes impermanent and becomes permanent again.
यही हमने.
But how is it possible? Something is real, it becomes unreal, it becomes real again. Yeah, exactly.
That we are not able to understand. That is why he is saying that
So how can
अभी जो है वो ignorance plus आत्मा का एक entity है, उसको नाम क्या देंगे पता नहीं.
ये तो अनटच्ड है ना यार, अनंत.
मतलब नीचे वाली चीज अलग चीज है, इसको समझने के लिए.
आप मुझे बता रहे हैं, उनको बता रहे हैं. क्लियर होना चाहिए यार, मतलब कहाँ किधर जा रहे हैं. या यस.
Impermanent or unreal.
No, who told you that it becomes impermanent? When did I say? आप गलत समझ रहे हैं.
There has to be a source of.
That is ignorance. Ignorance आ गई, and we started believing it as permanent. ये तो is shining in its own right. It is just like in front of sun, cloud comes, and we start believing that this is sun. लेकिन sun is shining in its own right now.
So that means it is us who is not able to understand.
Yes.
Otherwise, the soul is real. I mean, the soul is as it is.
Yes.
So there is no concept of impermanency or permanence, right?
To that, to Bodhi.
Otherwise also.
How is it possible? If something is real, it becomes unreal. If permanent becomes unpermanent, it becomes permanent again after ignoring the dawn.
So how can Atma change time and again? I mean, not time and again, but finally.
Jainism में क्यों नहीं पूछा ये question? I'll come to you. Why did you ask this Jainism? कि अनंत चतुष्टय it becomes like this and then again it becomes अनंत चतुष्टय.
No,
Why here?
Because Jainism is not saying that the ignorant soul is unreal. Buddha is saying that the soul is unreal and is impermanent. It's not there because
Yes.
of Kshanikvad.
Yes.
But Jainism.
This is where he is trying to understand. पिछले से चलता आ रहा है. This is where we are hanging in between, neither absolutely real nor absolutely unreal. It is our perception that we started believing this momentary soul as permanent. यही तो ignorance है. And once this ignorance is removed, then nirvana.
But actually it's permanent and real. But we think it's not. It's
Not at all.
basically,
Not at
sir, I don't understand how something real can become unreal and become real again.
ईगो है ना ये तो अभी. वो तो ईगो तो अनरियल है.
But the soul is same.
Who told you soul is same? वो थोड़ी आ गया
How
नीचे
is
soul.
permanent soul becoming impermanent?
समझ नहीं रहे. परमानेंट इम्परमानेंट नहीं हुआ है. Right? It is my perception that I started considering as permanent as impermanent. ये तो मेरा perception है. Yes, this is play of words. Everything is play because of ignorance.
That means the soul is not changing. As
Which soul?
any soul.
But this is afflicted with ignorance, no?
So that is for us. Otherwise.
Yes, yes, that is not for us. बिल्कुल ठीक बोल रहे हैं.
But ऐसा नहीं है कि it changes to something which is eternal or pure. मतलब कि already it was pure, it was only we who couldn't understand. And then we understood, so it became permanent. It is not that the soul as a whole is changing. It doesn't mean that.
I don't know why it's creating confusion. किसको confusion हो रहा है पहले तो ये बताएं. Okay. Fine. It's okay. Try to understand, and if not understood, then we will discuss after class, because there is no problem at all. I mean, this is the first time that I am stuck up over here. It's as smooth as anything. यही तो पढ़ते हैं. This is what we have discussed in the basic concept. Eternal soul is pure, eternal, indestructible, imperishable, unborn, uncreated. But we don't know how, when, where, who. We became afflicted with ignorance. And out of ignorance, I have become ignorant soul. It is like this. This is permanent, and now I have become ignorant soul. Isn't it? And this ignorant soul is trapped into cycle of birth and death. When this ignorance is gone, then I will realize that it is not me, this, it is me, this. Self-realization. We are all trapped into this ignorance, and we consider this sansar chakra and all that as real. It's all about ignorance. It is just like I am considering rope as a snake. अब आप बोल रहे हैं कि snake कहाँ है? Snake तो है ही नहीं, लेकिन अभी मैं am afflicted with ignorance. I consider it as a snake, and whatever my reaction is, that is pertaining to that only.
The problem is Buddha is saying till we are not Buddhism, we are not getting the idea that we all are enlightened souls. Till that time our soul is...
Buddha has never talked on this. Buddha तो सीधे से बात कर रहे हैं.
But you are saying that till we haven't attained the level of Bodhi, our soul are impermanent. But once we attain Bodhi...
This Buddha have not told. Stop here. We all are impermanent entities. We all are impermanent entities. हैं या नहीं? Are we not changing? We are changing. Who you are? Who actually you are? Body plus soul. And when I am saying I am changing, that means body plus soul changing. This soul is changing. It logically implies that there is something which is not changing, and that is pure soul. Then who is this? This is the product of ignorance. This is the product of ignorance. So we all are changing, and we all are product of ignorance only. ये तो सारा issue चल रहा है. And our purpose is to remove ignorance so that we can have that nirvana. Our ignorance is so high that we are not ready to accept that I am changing. I am impermanent. Isn't it? Am I same all the time? No, I am continuously changing. My body is changing, and so-called soul is also changing. This is how is Niratmavad. Okay, fine. You just keep and following me. Let us see what comes out. If it's still their problem remains or it is vanishes. Just see what he is trying to say. Kshanikvad applicable to soul, and hence Buddha says there is no soul. There is no permanence of the soul. There is no Atma. And in fact, when she says there is no Atma, then actually he is denying that there is no ego complex. Actually, he is denying ignorant soul. Did he deny permanent soul? No, but this is which? Permanent soul or ignorant soul? This is ignorant soul. And Buddha is saying कि इसकी permanent existence नहीं है, because this is product of ignorance. और जैसे आपको right knowledge मिलेगी, ignorance will be removed, and its product of ignorance, that is me, will also be removed, and I would be getting nirvana. I would be getting enlightenment. That is Kaivalya, moksha, and something like that. Now, slightly deviation, because it has created certain problem among the philosophers also. Now, whenever we talk of philosophy, then one question is, or for you one question is there, which texts are considered as the fountainhead of Indian philosophical system? Only Vedas? Yes. In Indian philosophy, it is believed that fountainhead of Indian philosophical system is Upanishad, also known as Vedas. Right? Upanishad or Vedanta. What is Vedanta? End of Vedas. End of Vedas means it is not literally end. It is the Vedanta represents the climax of Vedic thought. A thought process which started with the Rig Veda, reached to climax in the Upanishads and known as Vedanta. Are you aware of Vedic literature? Huh? Vedic literature consists of? Are there only 4 Vedas? Yes. How many Vedas? 4. Which are those? Rigved, Samved, Yajurved and Atharved. Done. These are the Vedas, 4 Vedas. Now, these Vedas consist of hymns, prayers. Right? Now, what is their ritual significance? Every Vedas, all these Vedas consist of something. Then what is their ritual significance? Their ritual significance has been elaborated in a new text known as Brahmanas. Not a Brahmin. Brahmin is a word. It is a Brahmana. So every Veda will have their own Brahmana. Rigved will have Brahmana, Samved will have Brahmana. For example, Rigved Brahmanas, Etarre Kaushatke. So every Veda will have Brahmana. Done. Brahmanas are the texts which have ritual significance. How these rituals are to be performed, when are to be performed, what are the benefits, how many virtuous sacrifices is to be there, at what time, how, all these details are present in Brahmana. Right? A time had come when there was a lot of reaction started developing against the rituals and sacrifices. People started saying, yeah, ritual sacrifices, why? What is the purpose? Why you do sacrifices? I mean, cattle is being sacrificed in these unnecessary rituals. Some kind of reaction developed. It was the need of our reaction. Why? Because parallelly agriculture was being developed. And in agriculture what is required? Cattle. But cattle are decimated in sacrifices and rituals. Getting my point? So reaction developed. तो कुछ लोगों ने कहा, अरे यार चाहिए क्या इस लाइफ में? Why your ritual sacrifice? क्या? What actually you want? तो किसने कहा यार ये तो सोचना पड़ेगा. I have to think. And to think, I want to sit down in a place where no disturbance comes. And people have said that forests are the best place. वहाँ चलते हैं. वहाँ बैठ कर तसल्ली से बैठ कर सोचेंगे चल क्या रहा है. So they went to the forest and started thinking. And moment you start thinking, here begins the beginning of philosophy. Out of this thinking process, a new text has emerged, known as Aranyaka. Aranya means forest, and Aranyakas are also known as forest books. इसमें क्या डिस्कस हुआ? इसमें there is a slight beginning of philosophy, philosophical interpretation of Vedas. Faint beginnings. So every Veda will have Brahmanas, every Veda will have Aranyaka. इस वेद का रिचुअल सिग्निफिकेंस देखना है. देखो भैया, सामवेद है, यजुर्वेद है, यजुर्वेद का देखो कौन सा ब्राह्मण, पढ़ ले. 4 Vedas, Brahmanas, Aranyaka. A time had come in 6th century BC where there was complete condemning and negation and rejection of rituals and sacrifices. And a view had come that all these things are nonsensical. It's a simply wastage of time. Ritual kya, ritual kyo, sacrifice kyo. Let us focus on that ultimate reality. Supreme, absolute reality, eternal reality, उसके बारे में सोचते हैं यार वो क्या चीज है. And hence, now people out and out had become philosophers. And because of this philosophizing, a new text has emerged known as Upanishads or Vedanta, Indo-Vedas, that is climax of Vedic thought which started in Rig Veda. That Rig Veda में जो start हुआ thought process that reached to its climax in the Upanishads. Now, every Veda, what is philosophical importance of this Veda? So every Veda will have Upanishads. If you want to see ritual significance, then you have to refer to Brahmana. If you want to see philosophical importance, then you have to refer to Upanishads. Aryanika represents a transition from Brahmanas to Upanishads. Is that fine? So Vedic literature consists of 4 Vedas, Brahmanas, Aryanika and Upanishads. You can have mains में, culture part में, Vedic literature. Because the nature of question are like this only. इस बार Indus Valley पूछा उन्होंने, right? Vedic literature of course you can have. This is the Vedic literature. So fountainhead of Indian philosophical system is Upanishad. Out and out philosophical text. We will see that within Upanishad and Vedanta there are different schools. We will see later on. तो बात ये है कि भाई वेदांत आर कंसिडर्ड एज ऑथोरिटेटिव टेक्स्ट ऑफ फिलॉसफी, बट वेदांत इज इटसेल्फ नॉट एक्सप्लेनेटरी. दे हैव रिटन सम वर्सेज ओनली. वन वर्ड्स यू हैव मस्ट हैव कम अक्रॉस वेरी फ्रीक्वेंटली. ब्रह्म सत्यम जगत मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मेव ना परा. बस उसमें इतना ही लिख. अब अलग अलग लोग आएंगे और इसको इंटरप्रेट करेंगे और अलग अलग व्यूज निकलेंगे. Done. But one thing is certain कि Upanishads and Vedanta are considered as the authoritative philosophical text. तो जो भी philosophers हुए हैं वो basically emerging from Upanishadic thought, right? So जो भी philosopher होगा, if he goes against the उपनिषद ने कुछ बोला और मैंने जस्ट अपोजिट बोल दिया, तो आई विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज इनकंसिस्टेंट. एक तो मैं इंटेंशनली बोलूं तो मैं क्रिटिक कहलाऊंगा, जैसे चारवाक का बोल सकते हैं. एक ये हुआ कि मैंने उपनिषद, मेरा थॉट प्रोसेस है, एंड आई स्टार्टेड स्पेकुलेटिंग, आई क्रिएटेड ए सिस्टम, बट व्हाटएवर सिस्टम आई हैड क्रिएटेड एक्चुअली दैट वेंट अगेंस्ट द बेसिक फिलॉसफी ऑफ उपनिषद. तो लोग बाग बोलेंगे भाई ये क्या बोल रहा है यार, उपनिषद के अगेंस्ट में जा रहा है. तो ऐसा उपनिषद ने नहीं कहा, क्योंकि ऑथोरिटेटिव टेक्स्ट इज उपनिषद. द बेसिक थॉट प्रोसेस वन शुड नॉट गो अगेंस्ट दैट, बिकॉज उपनिषद आर फाउंटेनहेड ऑफ इंडियन फिलोसॉफिकल सिस्टम. आई होप आई एम एबल टू कन्वे व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. सो यू जस्ट कांट गो अगेंस्ट द बेसिक प्रेमाइसेस. जैसे हमने कोई बेसिक कंसेप्ट डिस्कस करा फिलोसफी में, और फिर हम किसी स्कूल में जाके कुछ या ऐसे कुछ एक ऐसा कंसेप्ट बनाए दैट गोज अगेंस्ट दैट. आप बोलेंगे यार बेसिक कंसेप्ट तो ये है, तो इसी के अगेंस्ट में जा रहे हैं. हमने कहा एवरीथिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड इज रिलेटिव एंड सम अदर प्लेस वी से दैट एवरीथिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड इज एब्सोल्यूट. सो इट गोज अगेंस्ट आवर बेसिक कंसेप्ट. नो, इट्स अ कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी. So either I have to change or you change the universal law, but universal law I cannot change. So that means I am wrong. I have to accept it. Either I have to change or people will criticize. Done. All Indian philosophical schools are basically directly or indirectly emanating from that Upanishadic thought process. Thought process. I am not saying whether I have to follow, accept the authority of Upanishad or not. कोई जरूरी नहीं है, लेकिन मेरा थॉट प्रोसेस और उपनिषद का थॉट प्रोसेस इट शुड मैच. आई विल बी कंसिस्टेंट इफ इट मैचेस. इफ इट गोज अगेंस्ट देन आई विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज. इज दैट क्लियर? ओके. नाउ कम बैक टू हियर. बुद्धा, व्हाट बुद्धा इज सेइंग दैट देयर इज नो आत्मा. बट व्हेन वी रेड इन उपनिषद, right, Upanishad says that ultimate supreme reality is Atma. और ब्रह्म. अभी कहा ना हमने ब्रह्म सत्यम जगत मिथ्या. Brahm is the supreme, ultimate, absolute, eternal, unborn, uncreated reality. Brahm, or another term for this is Atma, according to Upanishad. Brahm is Atma Sarup and Atma is Brahma Sarup. I repeat, according to Upanishad, which is supreme reality? Brahm or Atma. And what Buddha says? There is no Atma. There is no Atma. And this becomes a point of debate. And especially Vedanta, they will vehemently criticize the Buddhism. And they will say, कि देखो यार, ये कह रहा आत्मा ही नहीं है, लेकिन आत्मा तो supreme reality है. But this person is teaching you false doctrines of Upanishad. गलत पढ़ा रहा है तुमको, कह रहा आत्मा है ही नहीं, बट आत्मा तो सुप्रीम रियलिटी है. Are you getting? Later on, 6th century BC, 5th or 6th century AD, a person will come named Shankaracharya. He would be vehemently criticizing on many issues. One of them is this. Are you getting? अब क्या है, बुद्धा का उन्होंने कहा यार देखो यार ये आत्मा को ही मना कर रहे हैं कि आत्मा है ही नहीं, आत्मा इज फैलेशियस, आत्मा इज इम्परमानेंट, देयर इज नो आत्मा. लेकिन उपनिषद तो कह रहे हैं आत्मा इज द सुप्रीम रियलिटी. आर यू एबल टू पॉइंट आउट द बेसिक प्रॉब्लम? इफ नॉट, देन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड थ्रू वन टेबल. वेयर इज बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन वेदांत एंड बुद्धा? Is it really Buddha went against Upanishad? No. Isn't it? Now let us see. Where is the catch? Upanishad and Buddhism. Ultimate reality and phenomenal reality. This phenomenal reality will be the product of? It will be the product of ignorance. Right? Okay. Now according to Upanishad, ultimate reality is how many? One. And they refer it as Brahma. Written as Brahman, pronounced as Brahm or Atma. This is supreme reality according to Upanishad. Ultimate, unborn, uncreated, वो सारी चीजें इसमें. However, when this Brahm or Atma comes under the influence of ignorance, isn't it? Then this Brahm or Atma becomes ignorant Atma, and that is referred as Jeev. So right now we all are Jeev, but actually we are Atma or Brahma. But right now we all are Jeev. Why? Because we are afflicted with ignorance, and this Jeev is product of ignorance. Is there any problem into that? We all are the product of ignorance. अभी हम सब जीव हैं, but actually originally हम सब कौन है? ब्रह्म है. लेकिन हम अभी अपना ट्रू नेचर भूल गए हैं. क्यों? Ignorance is playing root. So done. Now come Buddha. Supreme ultimate reality according to Buddhism is how many? One. And its name is Bodhi or Pragya. However, once we get afflicted or Bodhi get afflicted with ignorance, then what comes out? Phenomenal reality. Isn't it? That product of ignorance according to Buddhism is ego or ignorant atma or product of phenomenal reality. इसका क्या नाम रखा बुद्धा ने? वो तो थ्योरी हो गया ना. अरे वो तो थ्योरी है. Once we get wrongly stuck up तो फिर चीजें हमेशा गलत ही निकलती हैं. Isn't it? No soul, no atma. ये तो आप थ्योरी का नाम बोल रहे हैं. I asked what is the product of ignorance. So right now, according to Buddhism, we all are Atma. Right now, we all are Atma. And this Atma is product of ignorance. So actually we are right now ego. Does we have permanent existence? Do we have permanent existence? Not at all. ये तो बेचारे बुद्धा कह रहे हैं. Isn't it? आप देखिए. अब जो अपोनेंट्स आते हैं वो कहते हैं ओ देखो यार क्या बोल रहा है बुद्धा, आत्मा है ही नहीं, ये तो प्रोडक्ट ऑफ इग्नोरेंस, फिनोमिनल रियलिटी. अबे यार तू देख तो सही, अल्टीमेट रियलिटी तो आत्मा ही है. But are they justified in criticizing Buddha? There is only one problem, that is word. Misunderstanding of words. It is simply like somebody's name is Michael and at home he is known as Mike. और बाहर जाके दो लोग लड़ रहे दे रहे एक दूसरे के खींच. वो बोल रहे माइक है, बोला क्या बकवास कर रहा, माइकल है, और दिए जा रहे. वो सेम प्रॉब्लम है. It's a just misunderstanding of terminologies. Is right? कैसे? According to Upanishad and Buddhism, ultimate reality is how many? According to Upanishad, how many? According to Buddha, one. Upanishad refer it as Brahm and Buddhism refer it as Bodhi. When this Brahm comes under the influence of ignorance, does Upanishad accept it? Yes. Do they accept product of ignorance? Yes. Does Buddha accept product of ignorance? Yes. Why Buddha have used this terminology, we don't know. उस वक्त क्या स्ट्रीम था, क्या माइंडसेट था, whatever be the problem, we don't know. But it is only because of the different terminology, both are criticizing and condemning each other. So, is there any difference? Not at all. And this is where I said somewhere, Buddha is flawless. Buddha is flawless. But then why Shankaracharya is criticizing? Because this and what Buddha have told, Kshanikvad is applicable only to phenomenal world. But after Buddha, in between some scholar had come who misunderstood and applied Kshanikvad to Bodhi. And moment he applies this Kshanikvad to Bodhi, it is become fit for severe criticism. And these people criticize actually that school. On the pretext of that school, they are criticizing whole of Buddhism. Because Shankaracharya wanted to re-establish Brahminical faith. And Buddhist will be the strongest opponent because Buddhism is flawless. Until and unless it is given a death blow, intellectual death blow, Buddhism will not accept defeat and re-establishing of Brahminical faith won't be there. Right? There is a long story, we will see over a period of time, but because of this misunderstanding, such issues have come. Hence, Nirasnuva. Buddha is very simple. वो तो बड़ी सीधी सी बात है. Ignorant soul has no permanent existence. उन्होंने basically यही कहा. क्यों? क्योंकि जब ignorance जाएगी, once I have right knowledge, then do this ignorant soul have existence? This is what Nirasnuva. Is that clear? I hope it should be clear. But one problem had occurred. And we asked Buddha, yeah Buddha, we are trying to catch Buddha actually. And we asked Buddha, yeah Buddha, do you believe in rebirth? Do you believe in rebirth? So, does Buddha believe in rebirth?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and you are caught. An opponent starts jumping, beta tooth to gaya. Isn't it? Because you are accepting, Buddha is accepting that yes, there is rebirth. But rebirth means that there is something which is transferred from one birth to another birth. And for that, there has to be some permanent existence. Isn't it? Rebirth hota hai na? But this is what we have been studying. Cycle of birth and death. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. So कौन आ रहा है बार बार? Body आ रही है क्या? Body is perishable. We discussed in the very first class. Then who comes again and again? Soul. It means soul has to be permanent. And this is what is known as transmigration. Are you aware of this term? Transmigration. That is transfer of one permanent soul from one birth to another birth. Are you understanding? I'll ask you another again. Does Buddha accept rebirth? Yes. Does he accept transmigration? No. This silence is according to convenience. Because there is no speculation. Does he accept transmigration?
Yes, sir. No. Yes.
Those who are saying yes, how can they afford to say yes? Because Buddha believe in Kshanikvad. Transmigration matlab? There is some permanent thing which is transferring from one birth to another birth. So is Buddha believing in transmigration? No. Why there is confusion? Not at all. He does not believe in transmigration because there is no permanent soul. Permanence कुछ है नहीं इनकी philosophy में. So Buddha, now you tell me, in the absence of permanent soul and in the absence of transmigration, how you are going to explain rebirth? Because you believe in rebirth. You are believing in rebirth, but you are rejecting permanence. That way transmigration you can't believe in. Then how you explain a rebirth? Are you understood the basic problem? Buddha says no problem at all. कहीं कोई issue नहीं. And you can explain very well if you have understood previous concept. If you have understood previous concept, then you can very well answer this question, that in the absence of transmigration, in the absence of permanent soul, is still Buddha believing, explaining rebirth. Don't forget Pratyakshya Samutpada. Because just for the sake of saying, we are not saying that Pratyakshya Samutpada is the central teaching. What is Pratyakshya Samutpada? Cause and effect theory, right? And now see how he will explain rebirth. He says that look, we exist for a moment. We exist for a moment, but this moment has the causal efficiency. It has the potentiality to give rise to the next moment. This moment is caused by this, and this moment has the causal efficiency to give rise to the next moment. Causal efficiency means this seed is causally efficient to give rise to tree. This matchstick is causally efficient to give rise to spark. This movement is causally efficient to give rise to the next movement. Why? From where this causal efficiency comes? Now again recall, we had discussed a bag which is full of Fruits. That bag we discussed in the first class, there in Jainism that bag is stick to Jeev, isn't it? And in Buddhism that bag is in this movement. Fruits. Remember that 12 dependent links, karmic impression, caused, next link, this being that arise. So this movement has the causal efficiency to give rise to the next movement. कब तक causally efficient रहेगा? जब तक fruits रहेंगे, isn't it? So have you seen relay race? Relay race देखिए कैसे होती है? एक भागता है और भागते उसको पकड़ाता है, दूसरा पहले भागने लग जाता है, right? There is a continuity. Moment he takes and then start running, then is lost. Continuity है, isn't it? This is how a kind of relay race is there. How? This exists for a moment. It came and gone, but it is causally efficient to cause another movement. And this sanskaras, this fruit is transferred to next movement. Next movement. Next movement. Causally efficient to give rise to the next movement, next movement, next movement. Are you getting? I exist for a movement. ये movement कहाँ से आया? This movement has come from only previous movement. Whatever you are doing right now, will you not have result of that? जैसे कर्म करेंगे वैसे फल मिलेगा ना? और जहां पर अभी है इस वक्त आप, it is result of your past movement. This is karma theory. Fine. So this movement is causally efficient to give rise to the this. And once last movement comes, when dying, last movement comes, then what arises into that movement? Will. That will is only because of कि भैया बैग है, इसलिए हमने कहा, I told you no, यार मैं सोच के बैठूंगा कि I will not come again. हाँ, and I am saying in the last moment, I will not take birth, I will not take birth, I will not take birth, है, died. Isn't it? But definitely, you will take birth because it is not matter of saying, it is matter of, and this will arises, will for, yeah, will for again coming back once more. So ले भाई, ये ले, पकड़, ये once more. This is your so-called new birth, and this bag is transferred to next. So this is rebirth. Are you getting? This is rebirth, and hence Buddha explained rebirth even in the absence of transmigration and in the absence of permanent soul. This is continuity. ये तो birth death हमको लग रहा है, ये तो हमने बना रखा है birth death. But actually death means new beginning, continuity है. This is a प्रवाह है. This is where he is trying to say that when I see this world, I see only ceaseless flow of change, flux है. And this is unbroken continuity. This is how rebirth is. Understood? So I ask you, what is rebirth? Then you should answer that rebirth in Buddhism philosophy is nothing but possession of next birth by previous movement. And this is nothing but possession of next by the previous movement. This is nothing but प्रकृति समुत्पद, उसको नहीं भूलेंगे. This being that arises, this being will being that arises. यही हमने 12 लिंक्स में पढ़ा है. Have you understood or not? 12 लिंक्स जो हैं वो एक्चुअली क्या है, धीरे धीरे खुलेगा नहीं, टाइम तो लगेगा ही. isn't it? We can't discuss all the concepts simultaneously. One by one, these things are coming, and this is how he is explaining. And Buddha believes in rebirth, yet he is not believing in transmigration, because in his philosophy there is nothing permanent. Everything is Kshanik. And there is only one thing which is permanent, that is Bodhi. But of course Bodhi is not here. Logically, हालांकि बुद्धा ने नहीं कहा, लेकिन अगर बोधि इस phenomenal world में आ गए तो वो तो परमानेंट फिर कहाँ रहेंगे? तो बोधि की तो बात करते ही नहीं है बुद्धा. He never talk, because बोधि बोलते ही आप लोग 10 सवाल करेंगे. And Buddha is not interested in answering those questions, because that will be beyond your grasp. Is that clear? So, look, second and third noble truth, Pratyatya Samutpada. Pratyatya Samutpada has led to Kshanikvad. And from Kshanikvad, logically, we have come to Sanghatvad, and then Niratmavad. And then we can say that this is one philosophy, this is second, this is third, and fourth you have already read, that is nothing but the theory of karma. This is theory of karma. What is karma theory? As you saw, as you read, karma theory simply means जैसा करोगे वैसे भरोगे. Karma theory simply means cause and effect. जो एक्शन कर रहे हैं उसका तो इफेक्ट आएगा ही आएगा. So karma theory is also logically derived from Pratyatya Samutpada. And there is fifth doctrine which is again coming, which you have already discussed, that is Arth Kriyavad. Arth Kriyavad. This Arth Kriyavad is nothing but the theory of causal efficiency. Theory of causal efficiency. For example, seed is causally efficient to give rise to tree. Is that fine? Right? So one by one, logical, all these doctrines are logically coming from that. I hope it is clear. Yeah. Yeah, we have to. Yes, we have to. Rebirth is causation of next life, next movement by the previous movement, as explained by Pratyatya Samutpada, theory of karma, and Arth Kriyavad. Without these three, you can't explain rebirth. Hence, a question comes on Arth Kriyavad. Obviously, you have to mention theory of karma and Pratyatya Samutpada, isn't it? This is all, everything will come, because everything is correlated. तो उस चार नोबल ट्रुथ से सारी की सारी फिलॉसफी आ गई है. Second and third, Pratyatya Samutpada, and Pratyatya Samutpada itself is based for Kshanikvad, Niratmavad, Sanghatvad, theory of karma, and Arth Kriyavad. It is the Pratyatya Samutpada only that explains rebirth, sixth doctrine. It is the Pratyatya Samutpada only that explains Nirvana. This being that arises, cause removed, effect gone. Ignorance gone, suffering gone, that is nirvana. So कितने हो गए? 7 things I have been explained. The entire things are explained by Pratyatya Samutpada. It is because of this we will see every year question comes on Pratyatya Samutpada. कि बुद्धा में Pratyatya Samutpada के अलावा कुछ नहीं, घूम घूम के वही पूछता रहे. I hope all those doubts are cleared. We all are Kshanik. But Buddha never denied Buddhi. Question comes also on Niratmavad. इस क्वेश्चन पूछने का पर्पस सिर्फ दो ही है. First of all, they want to check कि कौन सा soul reject कर रहे हैं. Right? That is phenomenal ignorance. दूसरा, that debate has to be made. Right? And third thing is rebirth. These 3 points have to be there in your Nirasamvad writer. Perfect? Now let us take down some points. I think Pratyata Samutpad we have already written, right? Now give Kshanikvad. It is the Buddhist theory of momentariness. Next point. It is also called as Santanvad. It is also called as Santanvad or theory of flux or theory of flux or ceaseless flow. Next point. Kshanikvad is applicable to both mind as well as matter. Mind as well as matter. Hence, both are momentary. Next point. According to Kshanikvad, everything is momentary. Change is the rule of the universe. Change is the rule of the universe. Next point. There is neither being nor non-being, but only becoming. Next point. It is logically derived from Pratyata Samutpada. It is logically derived from Pratyata Samutpada. Next point. To explain Kshanikvad, two analogies have been given. Two analogies have been given, that is, stream of river and flame of a lamp. Flame of a lamp. Next point. The rapidity of succession. The rapidity of succession preserves the continuity. Identity is nothing. Identity is nothing but continuity of becoming. But continuity of becoming. Rapidity of succession gave rise to the illusion of unity. Gave rise to the illusion of unity or identity or permanent. Next point. Momentary logically implies that there is a reality, which is unborn, immortal, uncreated, imperishable, and this is Bodhi or Pragya. This is Bodhi or Pragya. Next point. Kshanikvad is applicable to phenomena only. Kshanikvad is applicable to phenomena only. Right, next give a small heading, Nirasmavad. This is no soul theory. This is no soul theory which logically follows from the doctrine of dependent origination. Logically follows from the doctrine of dependent origination and Kshanikvad. Next point. It is the theory of no ego complex. It is the theory of no ego complex. That is, individual ego, which is the product of ignorance, is ultimately false. Next point. It is also known as no Atma theory. However, Buddha takes Atma in the sense of individual ego complex. However, he never denied pure self or true Atma. Pure self or true Atma or pure consciousness. That is Bodhi or Pragya. Next point. There is debate between Upanishad and Buddhism. Due to misunderstanding of terminology. Upanishadic Atma is actually Buddhist Bodhi. Upanishadic Atma is actually Buddhist Bodhi. And Upanishadic Jeev is Buddhist Atma. Buddhist Atma.
Sir, Buddhist, it is
Upanishadic Jeev is Buddhist Atma. Next point. Buddha's concept of soul, that is flow of consciousness, can be compared with the Western philosopher David Hume's view of self, can be compared with the Western philosopher David Hume's view of self. Once we will take a Western philosophy, we will see David Hume, empiricist philosopher. He will also talk on the self being empiricist. Of course, he can't accept permanent soul, because that permanent and eternal soul, he says, I don't experience. So what is soul according to you? He will be giving exactly same thing what Buddha has told in 6th century BC. So there is a comparative study. Any question on Buddha, especially Nirasamvad, will be referring Hume, and writing on Hume obviously will be compared with the Buddha. You have to remember this. Next point. According to Buddha, so-called soul is an aggregate of 5 fleeting skandhas. 5 fleeting skandha, that is pancha skandha. The so-called soul is an aggregate of 5 fleeting skandhas, right in bracket, that is pancha skandha. These are fleeting. Fleeting means changing. First is rupa, that is form, matter, that is form or matter. Second, Vedana, that is feelings, sensation, feelings, sensation. Third, Sangya. Third is Sangya, that is perception or consumption. Fourth is sanskar. Fourth is sanskar, that is tendency or mental formation. And fifth is Vigyan. Fifth is Vigyan, that is consciousness. Right? So this so-called man, me, is nothing but aggregate of 5 skandhas. Isn't it? This being is referred as one of the link in that Pratyatha Samutpada. Who is that? Yeah? Psychophysical being. Isn't it? That psychophysical being is Nam Rupa. All these 4 are referred as Nam, and this is Rupa, Nam Rupa. So this is Nam Rupa. Isn't it? There is no permanent existence of soul. This is what we are discussing. With the death, there is dissolution of these 5 skandhas, and hence so-called man dies. What remains? That sanskaras, that is the आगे जो पास ऑन हो रहा है, that is the that fruits in the simplest way we can understand, and that is being transferred from one birth to the another, isn't it? So this is how the soul is or man is. This is how it is naam roop. One of the link लिख लें कहीं पर, because question you can have doctrine of Panchaskandha, you can have short note on this 10 marker. You have to refer this, you have to briefly explain this, and hence you have to refer that this is nothing but the naam roop, one of the link in Pratyatya Samutpada, and this being 6 senses arises. And naam roop कहाँ से आया? Naam roop is itself a factor, and hence it is caused by preceding link, and that was initial consciousness in the embryo. This being that arise, and this being 6 sense arise. See that link, see that pratyatya samutpada. ये जो भी हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, ये अभी नाम रूप, दिस इज साइकोफिजिकल बीइंग. नो नीड टू कंफ्यूज. तो ये कहीं से आया है और कुछ कॉज करेगा ये. या the so-called soul is nothing but the aggregate of this. There is no permanent existence, isn't it?
So living being has soul, and what is matter?
Roop is matter. आपका matter, your external as well as internal. That is roop.
Sir, you have written it that aggregate of Buddha is a so-called soul is an aggregate of all 5 things. So soul.
अब सोल तो कुछ एक है ही नहीं ना. Isn't it? सोल तो कोई एक चीज है ही नहीं.
Battery is included as well.
Yes. This basically he gives 2 things about soul, and later on he says that this so-called man is nothing but the aggregate of. Right. Next point. Buddha believed in rebirth. However, according to him, rebirth is not transmigration. However, rebirth is not transmigration. In the absence of permanent soul, he explains rebirth. He explains rebirth on the basis of Pratyatya Samutpada and theory of karma. Pratyatya Samutpada and theory of karma. That is, rebirth is causation of next birth by the preceding movement. Right? He gives one example to explain this rebirth. This is candle, right? And this candle, another candle is lit with this, then another candle is this. So this candle is lighting another candle, and this is continuity is unbroken. Moment any candle is exhausted, its wax or its oil, then no flame, and no flame means no neck, and that would be the state of निर्वाण. बोधि नहीं बोलेंगे, राइट? दैट इज निर्वाण. निर्वाण में क्या हो रहा है? बोधि मिल रहा है कि कहाँ जा रहा हूँ, मैं कहाँ जा रहा हूँ, भाई कुछ नहीं बताओ. दैट इज वी डोंट नो. दैट वेयर बुद्धा इज साइलेंट, राइट? सो rebirth is nothing, or is explained by the one candle lighting another candle, right? Yeah. Yeah.
In exam, which terminologies we have to write? Is Hindi or English?
Whichever you comfortable, since these are important terminologies, this you have to remember. right? Because question can come on Panch Skandhas, hence, these terminologies has to be there. Whatever terminologies which you find in the notes, these terminologies are already filtered. Don't further filter. At least these terminologies you have to remember. And I feel if conceptual clarity is there, then there is no problem in remembering these terms. Initially, yes, of course, thoda sa issues rahega. So initially we would be focusing only on the concept. Conceptual clarity should be crystal clear. That should be the highest. All my efforts are only for the conceptual clarity. Once that stage is over, then you have to revise. If you revise 3-4 times, then you become fit for writing test. Right? And if you are remembering, but test is not performed well, then that is the problem of your approach and answer writing skills. For that we will go. Is that fine? So, conceptual clarity should be highest one, and whenever I take test, I don't see your content. क्योंकि आप कोई कंप्यूटर थोड़ी हो, आज बोला 4 दिन 10 दिन बाद एग्जाम लिया और एज इट इज आपने शानदार आंसर लिख दिया. That is not the way. You require time to revise and all that. Then what I see in the test? I see your approach, how you are proceeding, what I am asking and what you are replying, your logical development and conceptual clarity. Throughout the session, my focus will be only on this. Once batch is over, you sit down at home, you revise, and once you write a test, so from test series, then you will be properly evaluated about the content also. Is that fine? So now I'll just take 5-10 minutes more. We have already done Jainism, right? And I hope you have revised in this 1 or 2 day break. So at any point of time I can take test. So be mentally prepared for that. Okay? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, yeah.
So this soul is made of 5 skandhas, and first one is matter, but matter is different from soul.
Fine, matter is different from the soul, but this so-called soul is also this. Basically you want to say about the aggregate, this man. Soul का कोई separate existence नहीं है. What he should say. So basically me as an aggregate is nothing but the soul. Right? And since they are different, hence he is saying that this is an aggregate, which is itself momentary. And this is flaw. Buddha have not differentiated between them. Getting my point? Fine, you just go through, then again we will discuss. Let us take down something more. Next point in that Nirasumvad. According to Buddha, something might be considered a self. Something might be considered self only if it were permanent, not leading to not leading to suffering. I repeat, something might be considered a self only, first point, if it were permanent. Second, not leading to suffering. Third, not dependently arisen. And fourth point, subject to one's own will. And subject to one's own will. Subject to one's own will. Next line. Since none of the 5 aggregates, fulfill any of these conditions, it is wrong to see them as belonging to ourselves. as belonging to our self. Next is, give a small heading, theory of karma. It is also based on Pratyatya Samutpada. Next point, it means our present life is due to the karmas of past life. Our present life is due to the karmas of past life, and it will shape our future life. Give a small heading, Sanghatvad. The theory that so-called matter is unreal. So-called matter is unreal is also derived from Pratyatya Samutpada. Next is, give a small heading, Arth Kriyavad. Arth Kriyavad. It is the theory of causal efficiency. It is the theory of causal efficiency. That is, each preceding link is causally efficient. Is causally efficient to produce the succeeding link. You produce the succeeding link. For example, seed is causally efficient. Seed is causally efficient to give rise to tree. Right, so these are the 5 doctrines broadly, logically derived from Pratyatya Samutpada. Majority of the issues in Buddhism is over. Some issues have been left out. Tomorrow we'll continue that. Right, and tomorrow effectively Buddhism will be over with the questions also. Right, so I'll wind up tomorrow. See you at the same time. Thank you.